All right, welcome back. So, for this um, episode, I found another post from God bless it, Craigslist Spirituality Forum, and here it goes. The author says, "I'm wondering about near-death experiences. My uncle recently had an accident and luckily came out of it with very little injuries and told me that he was taken to some place while he was out. He told me with such vivid detail what he experienced, and it fascinated me. It is so unlike him to even believe in such things. So when he told me, I really believed him. I wonder how many people actually experience this and keep it to themselves." It's a pretty common phenomena that even people who are skeptics or atheists or nihilists or whatever have these types of experiences and humble themselves enough to share it. I can think of quite a few people who have had really interesting experiences like this, and quite often those near-death experiences are what awaken like spiritual beliefs and faith in people. So I can also sympathize with that because, like I said, I spent a long time being very sick, and I also experienced these types of phenomena from like cytokine storms. I just realized there are power lines behind me. How gross is that? I did have these types of experiences where it was like, I knew, and I mentioned this, like I said, you're getting these favors because you have stuff to do. And part of that has been like being near death, and being called back, basically, or like, I actually learned how to put myself into shock to kind of stop that, which is a really bad thing. Don't do that. But I learned how to do that, and I was able to bring myself back from places that I think a lot of people, like where I understood it to be like choosing in this moment my future. And so if I had felt so inclined, I think that I could have allowed myself to die, if that makes sense. I actually wrote a thing about this on Medium once upon a time. It's called You Do Choose, and it's an unpopular opinion. People have gotten really upset with me, and I'm like, I don't think you're allowed to do that. I also have a really weird thing about death, and I don't consider it bad. This sounds so strange to say, but it's kind of true. Like, I don't think of it as being, I'm not really sad for people that they died. I'm sad for their families that they don't have them anymore. I'm sad that, in that sense, that the way that it impacts other people. But I understand death to be something of much more of like a soul migration than like an actual end. And somebody said to me once, they're like, well, if it gives you comfort to think that, and I was like, well, like, it doesn't. Like, I just live on and on having all of these lives and having to learn all these really hard lessons so that my soul can progress, and it's not actually a super fun time in a lot of ways. Like, would I not rather be back in the place of the luminous beings, kicking it with Tupac and Biggie or whatever, like, just saying. So, and especially at that point in my life, I was like, yeah, not a good angle to take on me today. And that was back during that time when I was really sick and I was really miserable. And I can see on some level it'll give you hope, you have another chance, and you're like, sign me up for this again, huh? So yeah, I think I don't know what this guy's uncle experienced, but I think that what he experienced was probably real and true and significant. And I guess part of it is like, you'll hear like variations in people's accounts of what happens when they die. But I think that a lot of that is because what is happening out there is kind of beyond our ability to conceive of from a human rational standpoint. And so there's like aspects of this that we can pick up and we can understand to the best of our ability. Like, I did a soul retrieval journey, and I mentioned the place of the luminous beings. To me, it was like Fraggle Rock. And it's so funny because it's like we don't really know what it's actually really like there, but like your imagination is able to create something. And I think that might even be playing a role when people have these near-death experiences too, that they are more or less imagining something to the best of their ability, like their human brain is still processing this information or is processing the memory of what had happened, maybe, depending on things. But it's really interesting to think about, like, it surely is just a matter of an effort of our conscious mind to create something sensical out of what happened. So I think there's a lot of validity to people's experiences around that, but also that there are variations, and that just means that even though there's like some glimpse into the beyond the veil, there's still some mystery there that remains to be solved for us, not in this lifetime, but once we're gone. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below.